But no, Beth goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory. Hello everybody and welcome back here to the CVR World Cup Mixer page. As always, my name is Jesperenker and I'll be guiding you through all the action as it unfolds live out on the different tracks of CVRcade. Now, today is a very exciting day because when I look over at the riders nearby list, I see 30 people on the start line. This has the potential to be the biggest one event Omnium I've ever seen, or 4-event Omnium I've ever seen, which I think we've broadcasted as well. That's exciting. I can't wait to see how this unfolds, as we've got racers from across the world streaming in. We've got Frank Garcia who's streaming in today. He's back on a bike. We have Sebastian Kuhn from Team Cognition who's in here. Carl Axel Sander is getting ready. Jonathan Herone, Casey Shum. We'll show you them all in a second as we go through them, but there are also some exciting news coming regarding the CVRcade World Cup Season 2 here in the stream today and later on tomorrow later on tonight onto the Facebook page. But before we get racing, let's get a quick word from the undisputed champion so far of 2020. He's yet to lose an Omnium. Quentin, that streak. I know you're not thinking about it, but this is another chance to keep it going.
Not a chance in hell, I think. There are 23 people racing, and a few of them are returning from a long hiatus, so I'm pretty sure there will be a few guys who are stronger than me.
Really? Such as? Who would you see is stronger than you?
It can come from everybody. I mean, Sebastian is definitely one to look out for. He didn't really go on a hiatus, but he's strong anyway, so I'm looking out for Sebastian, first place.
We'll watch it. Quentin, thank you very much for using your time. Quentin, 3 for 3 so far in 2020. He was mentioning Sebastian Kuhn as the rider that he is fearful for here in the first race of the day. You can see him smiling. He's enjoying it. We're about to get underway here. The first event of the day, which is... It's 5 laps of Kayla's mountain track. You've got a low skill event set up, so uncrashable, quantum shift, and corner caper. And then you have 1 comeback kit. Those are the power-ups and abilities available. And this is going to be a very fast race. The bigger the pack, the bigger the blob, especially here on a low skill event, the quicker they go. Good to see Phil Lovett returning back into the stream because I know he's very enthusiastic about his CVRcade experience. He's been looking at the streams from Season 1. He's been thinking about getting on the platform, and today he is racing for the first time on an upgraded laptop. He can experience the graphics in full, in ultra. He'll see the trees kind of move. He'll see the avatars. Good to see this. But Sebastian Kuhn already here off the back. He's having to use his comeback kit to get back on terms with the riders in the front here. So, Quentin, thinking he'll be a threat to look out for, but the comeback kit being used, he's with Ryan, he's with Ed, he's with Phil, he's with Jeff Rooney, who's further down here. But in the front, so many riders. It's breaking up here as Niels Heldens is making his way back up. If we go to the front, you'll see Niels Heldens in 5th position currently. As the breakaway, I think they're getting a bit of a gap here. Phil is dropped, Casey, Carl. They're doing 64 kilometers an hour, 68, 69 here on this descent. If there was a speed camera out on course, it'd be clicking. There'd be fines and tickets handed out to everyone. Make sure you've got your seatbelt strapped in, got the helmet all attached, as Nils is laughing. This is crazy how fast they're going. Tim is racing today. He's not on the stream here. Chris Pritchard is in the front group. Tim Fulfer is not here. Frank Garcia is in the mixed as well. The riders nearby list is just moving so quickly. Vibeke is using her comeback kid as well to get back on. So we are 2 kilometers deep into the first race of the day here in Zone K, Kayla's Mountain Track, and this finale. It's already been fast, but it's about to get a bit more furious as we come to the finish line. 2 laps remain, and comeback kid is going to come into play. Teamwork. It's going to be a mad dash to the line. Timothy has won on this track the last 2 or 3 times he's been racing on it. He'll be someone to look out for. Can he make it another one in this? Quinton at the back. Is he loading up a potential comeback kid here to try and get back up? So we see 2 very, very different storylines unfolding. Sebastian was the threat to Quinton as he self-proclaimed it, but as you can see on the left, he is kind of stuck in no man's land as he waves us off. Meanwhile, Quinton is on the front with 1 lap to go here. Who is going to be the first one to launch? We've lost Jeff Rooney. He's off the back, using his comeback kit, sprinting at 1300 equalized watts. He's giving it everything prior to the stream. And now Tim goes. Chris is there. What about the rest? Quinton stands up. We look to Frank Garcia. How has he been improving his speed and his sprint over the last few days? He's moving up. Quinton on the right, Frank on the left here. You look to the side. The sprint is coming. Timothy goes early. He's just behind Casey. He goes. 1200. Frank stands up. He moves through the group. Second, now into first, but that opens the spot. I think Tim takes it ahead of Chris. But that sprint was just way, way too close there coming into the end. Let's see if we can bring it up on the instant replay. So, Casey Shum opening the sprint early, attacking from far out. As you can see, he's the Cycling Hub member together with Tim lighting it up. And then we have Quinton on the right, Frank on the left, going head to head in the sprint. And you can see the power numbers on the right. Casey at 1,000. This point, Tim is at 200. Quinton goes to 1,000. And then Frank moves through the group here to get back on terms with the front. But he loses the draft just meters before the finish line, which slows down his speed. His momentum comes to a halt, and the others move on through. So Tim ends up winning the first race. Niels Heldens gets second, Quinton gets third, Frank gets fourth, and Carl gets fifth. Now, we did see Niels smiling on the stream. Let's go have a word with the Tempest. Niels, 70 kilometers an hour. I mean, that looked like pure chaos.
It was quite fun. You're not really doing anything. You're playing at like 100 watts and you're doing 70 k's an hour. So it feels like a good descent. Yeah, it was a fun race.
Now, how about this next one? Because that many riders, it has an impact on a low-skill event, but we have another different type of low-skill event with Uncrashable now. Are you looking forward to seeing how this many riders is going to affect the dynamics of a Cityscape New York race?
I think that it won't matter all too much because we're going to get a selection out of it of people that you normally encounter in races, I think, because some people might be as equalized or as know the game as well. So it'll be interesting to see. But I think you'll end up with a slightly bigger group than normal. So not too many changes, but I'll be happy to be proven wrong.
Well, we'll see how it pans out. Now, let's go and hear from Frank, because we had Frank side by side with Quinton in that sprint. Frank, it looked like you timed it almost to perfection, but as soon as you hit the front, it was like a roadblock.
Oh, I timed it to perfection. I'm a cadet at the moment, and so I got equalized out of that one. But you got to earn your stripes back again. I've been out for a long time. I hit a good number for me physically in real watts, so looks like I'm coming back. So It'll be fun once I get my stripes.
How about the team dynamics on a course like this? Because with this many riders, low skill event, how do you see the team dynamics coming into play in this next race?
Team dynamics should be big. We've got some announcements on the new World Cup that's coming. I don't think you've announced anything, so I won't steal your thunder. But I think team dynamics, here's a hint, I think team dynamics are going to be really important. How's that?
I like it. I like how we teed that one up, Frank. I'll let you get ready here for Cityscape New York coming up next. 2 laps. You've got 1 racer's edge. You've got 1 wind at your back. But then you've got 1 new power-up that we've seen being introduced slightly into the mix. It wasn't used a lot in Season 1, but Underdog. It gives you 50 more watts for 10 seconds for each person ahead of you out on track. And today, that's going to be amplified even more, because with this amount of riders in the game, you will now see it having a bigger impact if you're further back. If you're in 19th, you get a lot of power if you use it at the right time, but be careful that you don't use it just before a corner, because you may crash, but you won't, because Uncrashable is an ability in this race. If we make the turns, just to showcase once more who is in the stream here for Zone K. Casey attacked earlier in the last race. You saw Sebastian Kuhn, who gave us the "oh, I am dead" look on the stream. You know, when Seb is dead, that's usually when he finds his power. Carl was supposed to be on stream, but it looks like he hasn't made it. Jonathan Heron is in here. The Blockhead Rocket is in the stream as well. He is always good to see. He's a Cognition member. We have Quinton Molinese. I believe we were supposed to have Jennifer Garcia into this race, but rumor has it she had a flat tire prior to the racing. Not sure when we are racing on an indoor platform how that affects things, but you'll hear from Jennifer later. And then we have Nils Heldens, who in the last race finished high up in the standings, and we'll see how this one pans out. He believes that the team dynamics, that the increased numbers won't have much of a difference here. You'll just have a bigger selection towards the front. We will see as Vibeke is in here now. Ed Laverick is a returning member from the previous Team League. So the word team is being thrown around here a lot. Team League was something that was major in 2019. He was up there near the front. He was competing with Chris Pritchard, with Cameron Jeffers. Now he's back in. Phil Lovett is in here at 222 equalized heart rate. He is going from Cade Cadet up to Cade Competitor. Good to see him in amongst the mix, and also introducing new riders who are returning. Chris Pritchard, who was member of the Team League, is in this group here. Now, so we've got Frank and Quinton once more. We saw the two in the previous zone go head-to-head in the sprint. Good finale. In the end, it was Tim taking the top spot, but that was only a one-time scoring multiplier, as you can see it on the left. Nils has started an attack. Vibeke is there. Phil Lovett is attempting heavily here to bridge the gap with Frank on the wheel, and I think both of them are Cade Cadets, so the game is making them work for their biscuits out on course as they're trying to bridge across to Vibeke and Nils. Quinton is just 5th man out on track. He is there now. Tim comes to the front, as you can see him to the left. You got Sebastian down there, Casey as well. So 2 groups are slowly starting to form here, as you've got an attack on the front, and then you've got Sebastian sitting in the middle with Phil in there. You've got Timothy, you've got Alison Kubota, Jonathan Heron. Ed's early attack has now been nullified somewhat as he's moving on back, but a track like Cityscape New York with Uncrashable, it is so fast, it is so quick, and you've got to mark every move, and you've got to be attentive. One major thing about the CVRcade World Cup racing and the CVRcade racing is that you've really got to be keeping an eye on when other people use their power-ups. If you see a Razor Edge get activated, you've got to be on it. You've got to maybe consider using yours, or you gotta sit in and just do that extra bit of power. Now, I'm loading up the chat here, so if you have anything you'd like to include us in the stream, I am reading the chat. As I can see, Crucial Ball says, finally, a lot of riders. It's hard to keep up. Well, it's good to have you in here, Crucial Ball. I love having you in the chat. Count Dracula saying Mr. Garcia, which I think is in terms to the last racing. And then we also have Ben Shuilong, who can't make the racing. Nils, though, he's been riding well so far here. He's a rider who I had the pleasure racing with last Saturday. He was in there with Timothy. There were some few other riders. Peter Castro was in there. And Niels has really been getting better and better at the game. He was the surprise here in... Ooh, we've got a power-up. I'll continue that thought in just a second. As Alison Kubota, underdog, wind at her back and Racer's Edge. Those are the 3 power-ups you have available as one-time usage. And she just said, you know what? Here is my chips. That... straight into the middle. I've got aces. I am going, or maybe I'm bluffing, but you're going to have to react to it. Tim, who will join us on stream in the next zone, is following the move from Allison, and he goes straight to the left. Vibeke Bertram, who has updated her internet. She now has fiber internet, which means her updates move much, much quicker. She made a post saying that in the past, it would take her an hour to update, which is quite a lot. Now it takes 5 minutes, so it's a typical standard update. Back in the chasing group, though, you've got Case Shop. Look at this. The Team Cycling Hub Armada. They're just in this group. Nils, they're controlling it. Quinton, third wheel. Quinton putting a bit of a block there, putting a bit of a block and rocket maneuver here. Quinton and Frank are having a bit of a front and back sort of racing here. So Frank is trying to stay on the wheel. He knows that the race is up for grabs here. If Cycling Hub can get away, then there's no looking back. As Quinton, he's trying to get in behind Chris here. Quinton is trying to play interference. They are boxing in Frank, so a big threat gone as Casey, as Niels is attacking. They want to get up to Tim. This is where the increasing in numbers. This is a proper cycling race. As you can see, Frank on the left, increasingly turning more and more red as he's having to put out efforts. He doesn't have Kayla out there. There's no Rick. There's no Kinjal as Timothy is using his power-ups. Oh, he gets blocked! Can we bring that up on the replay? As Frank now goes on to the attack as well. So we've got that replay in the bank. But Timothy, that was a major move put on by Quinton Molyneux that we'll come back to in a second. But Frank utilizing all his power-ups. You can see Niels, he's in the group up front. Frank is bridging across. Now, let's load up that replay to see it once more. So, keep an eye on the Pink Panther Timothy Tamut. He, on the right-hand side here, uses Racer's Edge, uses Underdog. He tries to bridge across. Quinton sees it. His past teammate, in a matter of seconds, he shuts the door, and the power-ups are negated in half, pretty much. So, massive move there by Quinton. So far, play of the day, potentially, from Quinton Molyneux on Timothy Tamut. As Frank here in the back, he's at 197. He's feeling it. Niels is on the front. And they have a 7-second gap to make up to the front here. But what does Cycling Hub do? And that is a question we find ourselves asking a lot here. Because they just seem to have the numbers. They just seem to have the advantage wherever they go. They have Tim in the front group who doesn't really need to do anything. They have Niels and they have Casey in this second group. Where both of them can somewhat choose to either work together or they can sit up and say, you know what? We've got one rider in the front group we can sit in, and that person is Tim. But Casey doesn't look like he's taking it easy. He's known for being willing to work with anyone as Frank moves to the left. Carl Axel Sander is coming back. Timothy is blowing. Sebastian is blowing. Jonathan is down there. Thomas, Phil, Chris, Nigel as well. So many things are happening. If we move to the front, which is about 10 seconds up to the road, just as I say that, let's go back. Niels Heldens has used Underdog. 50 watts extra for every person ahead of you for 10 seconds. We're on to the Monument Hall here to the right. So take your camera out. Get your pictures if you need them for the scrapbook. We're coming back here next round again. Sorry, there's only 1.6 kilometers to go. What? This has gone so quick in the blink of an eye. Casey uses his power. My apologies. This has been so quick, so fun. I lost track of time. 1.5 kilometers to go. The race is on edge. If you bring down the scoreboard, you can see just how close it is at the top. Casey, with his momentum, swings around. Goodbye to Niels Heldens. He's got 5 seconds to make up to the front group. The gap is 4 seconds. 1 kilometer remains for the front. Tim is just sitting at the back, and Casey, the wind is blowing on him both in the game and in real life as he's now making it back up. He's fighting. There's Vibeke, there's Allison. They've done everything right up until this point, but now they've got to execute. If you go back again, another salvo of power-ups. This time, it's Quentin. Could this be the ending of the streak? Will Timothy pay it back? Oh, he gets around. He says, not today, Timothy. Sit on down. As Casey at 197 has made it to the front. Allison has been pacing this group for a long time. She's at 198. Tim is at 176. Vibeke is at 176. Could this be the Danes' time to shine here? Could Vibeke... Oh, she attempts to get behind Casey, and she is successful in doing so. We've got a 4-up sprint. Vibeke goes long. She's upping it. She goes back to the front. She's got the power-ups. Tim executes. There it goes. 1,500 equalized watts from Tim. Every single power-up once more is down to Vibeke. But Tim, as you can see, he moves right. He moves left. He gets rid of the draft. He knows he needs to go long. Vibeke in second position here. Can she get back on? Casey is tired. Allison is tired. Vibeke gets back up again. But I think it's gonna be too little too late for the Great Dane. Vibeke Bertram, very, very respectable second place here as Allison, Casey are out the back. Tim wins. Third place, Casey Shum, Allison Kubota. Casey comes around. He will take that further down. Niels Heldens is trying to get the last word on Carl Axel Sander. It will not be the case. Frank Garcia versus Quentin Molyneux once more. You can see the determination on Frank. He's at 200 equalized heart rate. And he will beat Quentin Molyneux to the line. Sebastian will have a fight with Timothy Tamont. That was just a brutal race. And that ended before it started. Honestly, I looked up at the distance remaining and I'm like, what? 1.6 kilometers left. That is absolutely nothing. They raced that so quick. Every decision gets magnified. That was awesome racing. Homeward Frame saying fun racing. Yes, Vibeke and Tim at the front, but gotta include everybody in that one. That was epic. Let's watch the instant replay. Now, we're looking at the sprint. What Tim did here is next level. Because not only does he attack at the right time and he gives it everything, he has the mindset and the state of mind to know, right, if I attack here, Vibeke is most likely going to try and get on my draft and come around me at the very end. But I'm not going to allow that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move to the left, move to the right, move to the left. And in doing so, when I accelerate, Vibeke gets no draft. She also has to keep a head up because Tim has the controllers, which means he does not need to reach out and touch a keyboard. Everything is on his bike, which makes every decision much quicker, much faster, much more responsive. Whereas I believe Vibeke has a keyboard, and so all those things matter in the grand scheme of things. But Tim wins, Vibeke second, Casey gets third, and we'll go get a word from Casey Shum here as we finish that one. Casey, Team Cycling Hub seemed to have the right idea of how to execute that race. You had Tim in the front group, you and Nils were chasing. What was the decision like to get back to Tim, wait? What was the communication like?
We're not on radio today, so it was really just by feel. The guys know how to play a race. Tim got away with that group. Niels and I were sitting on the front, not doing a lot of work. And Quentin kind of let him lag off our wheel because we were 3 in a row. So Quentin just dragged the pack back a little bit. At the same time, Niels and I went forward. And, I mean, it wasn't planned. We just saw it happening and took advantage. You know, Frank bridged. I knew he didn't have power-ups. I knew Tim was by himself up front. Allison didn't have power-ups. So I did the bridge, really, and I hoped to counter the bridge even. I just didn't have the legs. So I knew it was Tim and Vibeke at the end. But getting me there just worries him. I knew I didn't have it for the win after I used the power-ups.
That was a good race, though. I think that was really well executed from you guys. I want to hear from, who else we got on here? We've got Sebastian Kuhn further down, who's also in the racing today. Sebastian, that was a tough race. We saw you in the first race. You looked dead. How about what about the latest race you just did? How did you feel on Cityscape New York?
I gave all, but my heart rate, my equalized heart rate is not correct. It looks like I'm taking it easy, but I'm giving all. I feel I have concrete on my legs.
Well, that is usually not a good sign when that is the case. It could be, I'm sure the team will look into it, could be maybe if you're returning from a while, could be a Cape Cadet, or it could just be an off day, Sebastian. But plenty of chances left. Lakeview Lanes and Saturn up next. I wish you good luck. As the replay ends here, if we can bring up the full scoreboard and we can show you what it looks like, because there's a lot of riders on the start list today. A lot of newcomers. Ed Laverick is back in here. Phil Lovett, Chris Pritchard is in here. This is their first time racing. It's good to see Homer at the back as well. So that's the top three. I think we've also got an asset showing the larger scoreboard, if we could bring that up as well here as we get ready for 2 laps of Lakeview Lanes. 1 uncrashable, 2 path of least resistance, 2 power plants, and we've got win. This is the highest scoring multiplier of the day, and you'll see on the right side here just how it affects the scoreboard. That's currently your top 17 you're seeing of the right of Casey Shum. Tim's up there, Nils is second, and then you've got Quentin further down. So Lakeview Lanes is a track. Ooh, Chris goes down. Chris Pritchard hits a rock. Jonathan Heron, who's had a slow start, he's now in second place near the front. So he finds himself up there as Frank forced to use a path of least resistance here into the headwind to try and bridge up. Ryan Goldenberg is in 6th place. Frank uses uncrashable with a path of least resistance, so that way you negate crashing when you get into the corner and you eventually slide on out. But Jonathan Heron, with a slow start, has now found his way back to the front, and it affects the scoreboard greatly because now Jonathan is in 6th place. He is 1 point behind Carl, and if he gets a win here, he could sneak up. He could sneak up onto the podium, but he's contesting against some of the greatest. Tim's currently leading on track. Quentin Molinez here in 2nd place. You heard from Casey. Quentin was just slowly bringing him back, playing the role of the domestique. So unless Tim and Quentin swap roles here, unless Tim doesn't win this one, which is likely, as we've got 4 laps of one of the most technical tracks, as Jeff Rooney goes down, Quentin might see the streak go out the window here, which is a very impressive streak. He has Carl, he's got Velocity Vixen, Ryan, Carl on the left. Then you got Cycling Hub on the right here as they get prepared. But I had recently the joy of racing this race with the Executive Commissioner, Ryan, which is, I had the pleasure of racing with René Valadez here the other day on Lakeview Lanes. And it opened my eyes to just how technical this track can actually be in terms of corner speeds. There are 2 very specific corners towards the end that we're coming up to that you got to be aware of. You got to be prepared to know that if you slide too far out on one corner, you'll end up in the red obstacles. If you go too quickly at the end of the red obstacles, you'll slide out once more. And this is the corner I'm talking about. As Casey forced to work his way back on. Jonathan Heron there with a bit of block it rocket maneuvering on Casey Shum, not letting him by. He says, get back of the line. This is my cap. Ooh, Jonathan with 1 on Velocity Vixen as well. That was a triple block it rocket. Load that one up on the replay. As Jonathan Heron gets not only 1, not only 2, but 3 riders. Look on the left-hand side of the screen. He pulls the block on 1 Velocity Vixen rider. He moves to the left. Casey clearly not happy with that, as Jonathan utilizing the tools the game does make available to his advantage to get rid of a few riders. And that was Vibeke and Casey and Ryan on the receiving end of a bit of the cognition magic by Jonathan Heron here. But we've got a group shaving up now. So we've got Carl Axel Sander, Velocity Vixen. We've got Vibeke Bertram with the ride of the day in the previous zone, getting very close to Tim Fulford on Cityscape New York. You've got Casey Shum, Team Cycling Hub. You've got Quentin Molinez, Tim Fulford. And then you've got the lone Cognition rider as Ryan trying to attack away here. He's riding through the rails. That's how you get around the block it rocket. Oh, then he goes right into the back of it. Then he goes, what was that? Ryan, with a stroke of genius, quickly followed with a misstroke, and now the whole masterpiece just has a black line through it. Not sure that will sell for much when you go to market, Ryan, but him and Carl find themselves. Allison goes down. So sorry, Allison was also in this front group from Team Cognition. Wait, we've got an attack. How have I missed this? What? How has that happened? Vibeke Bertram, has they? It says they've lapped. It says Vibeke Bertram is a minute ahead of Quentin, Tim, Casey. Now, I must have totally missed it, or somehow they lapped. If the chat can help me out here, if somebody can help me out here, I'm not sure that that's exactly what's happened here, but I'd love to hear from you guys, as not sure the I'm not sure what happened there. Quentin here on the front with Tim, each on the other side of the road. But what this means is Vibeke is currently second, 20 points. Gaining 20 points on Tim. That will put her 1 point behind Tim currently on the road, as her gap seems to be increased. Am I totally oblivious to how that happened, or currently Vibeke and Allison a minute and 30, so something currently. So there was a new update today, not sure what's happening. But Casey in 5th, Niels down in 6th, Ryan Goldenberg in 7th. But as this is currently happening out on track, and they're all listening now, the CVRcade World Cup Season 2 is around the corner. Now, the majority of the team leaders, I think the team leaders have all been made aware that the next World Cup, the next season of the CVRcade World Cup, oh, Casey goes down. He goes to the left, bring that one up on the replay as we delay the announcement just for a second. But he's trying to get in front. He's leading out. He's taking the win for his teammates. And he wants to go left here. But on the left-hand side that's his teammate. I thought he hit Ryan, but no, he hits Quentin. And for Casey to make this up now, that will be a tough task. And now Jonathan Heron goes down. He may have attempted a bit of a rocket maneuver as he's got his hand on the keyboard. Uses path of least resistance. Carl Axel Sander goes down too near the front. And now, with the way this is shaping out, Vibeke Bertram in this group here is now the virtual leader. Ryan goes, everybody is going down. We've got 2.6 kilometers remaining. Everybody is just hitting the floor as we're about to come up to the final lap. Niels is up here, Quentin is up here as well. But no, the next season of the CVRcade World Cup will be team-oriented. So there's going to be more information coming out on this. There will be a post straight after the stream informing all of you that from next Tuesday, from next week, the races that we do on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, they will change. Some of them will change, and you'll get notified. And they'll be more team-oriented. We're going to do some testing ahead of CVRcade World Cup Season 2 to see how the team racing dynamics might shape up. But there is some really exciting news in the pipeline in regards to Season 2 of the CVRcade World Cup. So if you're not, Vibeke's got to be careful. She goes down, but it's a good thing she's got a 3-minute advantage in here. But if you're not already part of a team, now is the time to get on one, as more information is going to become available very soon. Season 2 in the works, and it's going to be team oriented. Are you excited? I'm excited. Love to hear what you guys are thinking as well. Side by side here, we've got Niels Heldens, we've got Quentin Molinez as they're out in the front. Cycling Hub 1, 2, and 3. They have broken away here. So Tim, Quentin, and Niels here. But with Vibeke's big lead now to 4 minutes on the front here, she's got a lead, but you can see on the scoreboard how it's standing right now. She'd be a 1.5 points behind here than Tim Fulford. And the last race of the day will be Saturn. We've got 3 laps of Saturn coming up after this. Wind at Your Back, Racer's Edge, and Corner Caper. As I think Jonathan Heron, he uses his path of least resistance in a corner. Again, he goes down. So one crash followed by another. Usually, that's a can of worms. Once it's opened, you can't really close it back down. So we move up to the front again. And we look at the secondary positions. It was Casey Shum who crashed into his teammate. Very uncharacteristic of Casey Shum to make that mistake, especially when it's your teammate. So he finds himself with Sebastian Kuhn, finds himself with Kinjal, with Jeff Rooney, Carl Axel Sander, but you can see Sepp, the metronome, the destroyer, the jury, the judge, the executioner, with 800 meters to go on the front. He is just in position here. But I think it's I think it's 800 meters to go for Vibeke, who's currently getting help from Ryan. Oh, Vibeke goes down. You know, when you're leaning in that corner, it can be difficult to know just exactly where you are out on track. But I think it's 700 meters to go for Vibeke, yet I think there might still be perhaps another lap remaining here for the likes of Tim Fulford, Quentin Molinez, and Niels Heldens. But they're displaying good teamwork. They're just training, they're practicing, they're taking turns on the front. But you can see on Quentin the effort it's taken out of him. Hair's slowly coming undone, usually always stylish to one side or another. But here you can see it's starting to get a bit sweaty. But 300 meters remaining for Vibeke. Of course, as always, in these races, we're in the run-up to the CVRcade World Cup. So this is just the practice period in the lead-up. So it's all changing, it's all being looked into. But the team will always, of course, look at positionings, etc. here. As now, 1 minute remaining. Oh, I think it's just gone back. I think it's just fixed itself. 2.3 kilometers, and we've got official positions here. Quentin in the lead, Tim second, Niels third. No, mate. Vibeke just finished. And she has crossed it, taking 75 points in this Omnium. Niels now next out on line. He's got a 10-second gap down to Ryan. Ryan here with a good effort to be in here. As you can now see what's happening. Just getting notes from the team, but it's good to see that they are aware. 5 minutes until the next race begins here. So this now becomes a race against the clock. You've really got to get to the finish line here before that clock runs out and Saturn begins. Now remember, we've got more racing. We've got Zone L coming up after this. So in Zone L, you'll see a set of new faces joining us in the broadcast. You'll have Ryan Goldenberg, you'll have Kayla Laguna, Nigel Doyle, Timothy Tamont, and Beth York will be joining us here in the next zone. So if you're looking forward to see them, make sure to stay around. As Cycling Hub entering the last lap, they're in their team time trialing mode here as they know what they need to do. As Sebastian is chasing on. He's finding himself with Kinjol, with Jeff, and he's just trying to get every single point. Because he's currently down in 10th, and he wants to move up the ranks here. He wants to get in a good workout, but I've been here. I know from my experience on Saturday, getting back on the platform and racing after a long hiatus is very, very addicting to have that carrot out in front to chase. For me, it was Corinne Fox, as she was on from the Wahoo Esports team. Then it was Peter. Then it was Nils and a few more riders in the front. But on Cade, there's always that one extra rider to chase down. For Sepp, it doesn't matter, he's in 6th right now. His goal is to get to Kinjol Desai. Can you catch up? Can you get back on terms? Can you overcome the rider ahead of you while keeping the rider behind you at bay? That is the task. But I'm very impressed with Cycling Hub, and I think without the technical difficulties experienced here with the positionings, I think Niels, Tim, and Quinton would take 1st, 2nd, and 3rd on this one here as they show their finesse in teamwork and taking turns on the front. And to even get into this position when there is a 4 kilometers an hour wind out on the track, it requires coordination. You've got to really be in line with your team, and you've got to understand non-verbal communication, because a lot of the teams, they use the audio widget, but some of the teams don't. And Cycling Hub, I think, is one of the teams that don't. But here we go, on to the sprint. They're all just going forward. They're treating this as it's for the win. Quinton on the right, Niels on the left. 1,000 equalized watts from Quinton. You've got to be careful here of the last corner, though. The last corner has a somewhat low max speed here. Path of least resistance and uncrashable. It doesn't matter. Quentin Molinez crosses in front of Tim here. Nails in 3rd. It looks like they had some infighting. They had an agreement to say, you know what, everybody, we're going to be each their own as the next Cycling Hub member. Casey Shum is trying to catch up. He's caught up to Sebastian Kuhn here. So he's gone over the top, and it's Kinjol Desai next for him. Sebastian in 7th. You've got Thomas further down. Homer Thompson is also down in 10th. And then we get ready for the next race, which is going to be Saturn. Now, I'm very excited to see how Saturn turns out, because that's the last race of the day. You've got that twisty turn. You've got chicane. You've got the the very difficult spiral. I think that's going to be fun. Let's bring up the Quentin Molyneux sprint once more. So you get Quentin here, who goes side by side. I like the decision from Team Cycling Up to say, you know what, we're just going to sprint for it. We've gotten to this point. We've worked together. Disregard everything that's going on. We're just going to try it and make a race for it and see how it's going to pan out. Whoever takes it, as we get ready for the next set of races. Now, the next race, the last one here is Zone K, is Saturn, which will be 3 laps. It will be a 2-time scoring multiplier. You'll have wind at your back, 1 racer's edge, and 1 corner caber, which is going to provide for some good racing, because when you use that corner caber, it's really going to change things. It's going to be a decision maker. It's something you really got to find out when to do it. Do you use it early to try and attack away? Do you use it late to try and make up for lost time, perhaps, in a final sprint? We've seen it from Ben Shuilon before when he caught a few riders off guard. But you can see Quentin on the screen here. Quentin, head is down, but morale must be up from that last race.
It really wasn't, because it was suffering all the way. I think we pulled turns up until like the last, I don't know, the last K, I think. And then you could already know that we were gonna sprint it out among us 3, but it was a very tough sprint, which I wish I didn't do, actually.
Well, it was good for the broadcast, it was good for the stream, it was very entertaining, that one, Quentin. But talk me through that. You come to that point of the race, you unleash every power up. I mean, what goes through your mind when you're like, okay, all or nothing?
At that point, nothing goes through my mind. It's just a matter of click 1 and 2 for the power-ups and just sprint. And from the moment that I see one of the power-ups fade away, just press it again and just make sure to put my crashable on for the last corner and just push the pedals. That's all.
Sounds easier said than done, but Quentin, congratulations, that was good racing. So we get ready for the next race. I'll let you get recovered as it starts in 20 seconds time. Saturn, we have got 3 laps, 2-time score multiplier, 1 wind at your back, 1 racer's edge, and 1 corner caber. This will be fun to watch the ending here of Zone K. All these racers have gotten ready. Now, how will this one pan out towards the end? We've got a few riders here off the start. It's Chris Pritchard off to an early start with Casey Shum in there as well. So Jennifer Garcia has also seemed to have fixed her flat tire, and she's made here the ending, so that will be her warm-up for Zone L. But Casey is in here, Jonathan, Allison. This is the point where everybody is feeling, okay, this is the end of, if I'm going to do one zone, this is the end of my one zone. If we cut here to Frank Garcia in a second, as he's sitting in 8th. So Frank Garcia behind Timothy. He's fighting to get back up on terms with the front group. So where will they be? One big peloton of riders, as you can see, led on by Jennifer. You've got Chris in 2nd place. Oh, Allison goes down. Tim moves on through. Timothy with a new avatar out on course, moving on up. So Frank is at the back here. You've got that very, very distinct avatar that we always see Frank Garcia in. He's on the wheel of Vibeke, who rode so well earlier in the Omnium. She moves to the right. She gets onto the wheel of Quentin Molyneux. Carl Axel Sander, Jonathan, Jennifer, Ryan, Nigel is with the Bot Patrol. I think he's just warming up for the next zone. Now, Tim is trying to attack away. 2 seconds off the front here. He's attacked. Timothy reacting to it. Vibeke reacting to it. Vibeke has got a chance of winning the overall here, of course, pending official results as we get ready. We've got Casey Shum now on the front here. He gets back up. You can see Casey. He is sitting here to the left of one of his teammates, as Chris. You got to be careful, though, in this chicane, because when you get to this chicane, you slide out. If you go above, I think it's like 33, 34, one rider goes down. It's Vibeke. Despite her fiber internet, despite her upgrade, you can't upgrade, you know, the mental connection between pressing the brake and knowing when to do it. But we're on to the incline now. You can see a few riders moving on up. Frank on the inside as well is coming up here now as he moves on up. You've got to, I do apologize for the right side head of the screen here, which have lost the riders nearby list. We did have a bit of a technical issue on one of our machines here that we used to spectate, and now it has lost the ability to join into the event, but it's a good thing we have a backup machine to bring you all the action. Casey with a power up. He's used his wind at his back, his Razor's Edge, and his corner caber to attack away here. So with just 4 kilometers left, he wants to try and get onto the podium. That is putting the pressure on the rest. Quinton goes down. Quinton Molines in the Frank Garcia corner also forces Jonathan Heron to go down. That is uncharacteristic again. Casey Shum with a strange crash on Lakeview Lanes. Now Quinton Molines sits down on Saturn. Maybe forgetting to bring his extra oxygen tank to space. But Frank Garcia now, though, he is trying to use his power-ups as he's got wind at his back to try and get back in. A very respectable 3rd and 4th place up for grabs as Allison now finds herself in the front with Casey. Not sure what's going on here now. As we can see, they're moving on up. Casey in 2nd place. That attack from Casey, that was strong. I mean, if we've got that on the replay, it'd be interesting to bring up as he went away, he came into the chicane, and then he just used every single power-up. Coming before it, attack, attack, attack. It's been a tough day already, but he's not shying away from a long-distance, all-or-nothing attack. And I think this is because he's only doing one zone. He's only doing Zone K today, unlike usually when he does 2 zones with Zones K and L, which is up after this. And so when that is the case, he's saying, you know what? I'm just going to make everybody else hurt. So Timothy calls down. Tim's there. Niels Heldens is down further down. And it's tough to rely on the scoreboard currently because there seems to be a bit of a glitch going on. But we'll keep you updated on the actual results. And you can always keep an eye on over on Facebook for the official results. But Frank goes down. Bring that one up on the replay because I think Frank... he turns left, and I think he turns into Ryan Goldenberg, just up into the distance. You'll see the peloton. That's where Nils is trying to get back on terms. Frank's on the right. He moves to the left, but just 1 pixel. It's all there. It's always that 1 pixel. It's always just 1 single pixel between staying upright and falling on down. But I like it. We got Crucial Ball still in the chat. I like having you here, Crucial. You make the chat a fun place. You and Nils Heldens, you are the highlights. That's the peloton now getting back together on the chicane here. Sorry, on the spiral, about to head into the chicane. Casey has a lead, but he doesn't have any more power-ups. 15 seconds can be closed with the blink of an eye. It can just be nullified with the right set of power-ups. Timothy is attacking across, but now Casey goes down in the Frank corner. I think he knew what he was up against, and so he knew he had to risk it every single time. He had to find a way to gain more time, and when you make that mistake, when you crash on down, it'll be tough. He's trying to catch up, but Niels Helden's further down. Timothy Tamont, Tim Fulford, they're trying to catch back up. So Timothy currently trying his best. Sorry, this is where you see, this is where currently the other spectator, he is off, he's on Aquavello, minding his own thing. If we go back to Saturn, so launch the missile, let's go back up into space. We've got a few riders here attacking. You've got Casey Shum still on the front, Niels Heldens in 6th place here with Carl Axel Sander. Now, Zone L is starting in 15 minutes, so don't go anywhere unless you want to refill your beat on, maybe get another bag of crisps if you're eating that, or you got some chocolate, you got some snacks. As Ryan just slides into Niels. Not sure whether that was an attempted block or just a lapse of judgment. If we've got it on the replay, Niels with the thumbs up with a little emoji, happy with that. But Ryan, I think Ryan was trying to play the obstructor on Niels, but again, it's that 1 pixel. Like, if there was a yearbook for CVRcade, voted least likely to succeed in life would be that pixel. That pixel would have his big face in the yearbook. As Niels Heldens in 5th, Tim is in 2nd. Timothy Tamontier, though, doing great to catch back on up to Tim and Casey. So it's going to be a good fight to the finish here. Casey has got 1 kilometer left. That's all that remains here on the front group. So we go to Timothy here. He's on the wheel of Tim Fulford. He's catching back up now. He's getting on the wheel. But this is where it gets tough. When Tim is just up the road and you've got to get back in, it can be very, very difficult to close down that gap, but he succeeds. If we go to the front of the race, the person who used his power-ups aggressively, attentively as the first person, Casey, with 700 meters remaining, he's got that lead. Now Timothy goes, wind at his back. He gets ready. He wants to get rid of Tim. Does he have corner caper? He does. Maybe could have waited a second. He decides not to. He comes into this. Will it last? He needs it to last all the way through. Casey doesn't get the block. Timothy Tamud has gone, see you later. And Timothy Tamud has got to keep this going because behind him, there is Tim Fulford, who used his corner caper there. That is an interesting move. Corner caper, wind lifted. You'd think he'd use it here in the final corner. I think with how Tim used the corner caper, that seals the deal for Timothy Tamud. Unless somehow, magically, he pulls out a Frank maneuver we haven't seen before on this corner. You can see in the distance, it's Timothy versus Timothy. Will it be Timothy the first or Timothy the second? To the edge. But it will be Timothy Tamud who crosses the line in first. Casey has been second. Tim Fulford will come over the line in third. Nils will be fourth, just ahead of Carl Axel Sander. He gave that everything. Quinton Molinez is just slowly riding to the finish line here. That is officially the streak over, I believe. But good effort nonetheless. Jonathan Herone, side by side with Chris. These are two massive sprinters. Which of the two have the bigger engine? Let's see a sprint off here. You've got Chris Pritchard, gone to the Commonwealth Games in the UK for Scotland. Now, he's going up against the Blockett Rocket, the man, the myth, the legend. This man has destroyed people's dreams, both in real life and on CVRcade. Can he do it once more to the sprinter? Chris is just going, no you don't. Get off my wheel. Stay there. But Chris, you've got to keep the rubber side down. We get robbed of a sprint finale like no other. It is Jonathan who's going to beat Chris. It could be that Chris was like, I don't like this pressure. I'm just going to try to instigate a crash and get off Jonathan's wheel. Regardless, good racing. We've got another zone coming up in about 10 minutes time. But that's all she wrote for Saturn Circuit Complete. Now we get to do it all again. Some will have tired legs, some will have fresh legs, new stories will be made, laughs will be had, crashes will be regretted, and power-ups will be popped here. So we've got all the highlights. As we just changed back now, our number one spectator has made it back in, so we'll revert back if you allow us for a second. As you've got Cameron7228 saying, Saturn was the first race I ever watched. What did you think about Saturn? What do you think about Saturn, Cameron? How did you like that one? How do you like it compared to the rest? But Timothy Tamud, who I believe will be joining us in the stream any moment, has just won the last race. So we've got Chaos Mountain Track coming up again. Let's go get a word with a few of the riders. First off, we've got Jonathan Herone, who we've yet to speak to today, but we will. Jonathan, I'm sad we got robbed of a sprint. You versus Chris, I think that would have made good entertainment. Oh, I think you may be muted on your side. Oh, no audio seems to be coming through from Jonathan, unfortunately, but that is fine. He might have his microphone muted. Well, not only do we get robbed of the sprint of the ages, we can't hear Jonathan's amazing voice either. Something, I mean, just daylight robbery. But we do have some more people in the stream that we can chat to. We can get a word from Casey, who in the last race went from far out. Casey, you went very, very early. What was the mindset? Why was that?
Just playing a little team stuff there. It's you go early, you make other people chase. They can either chase you back and essentially set up your teammates who follow them, or they let you go and you win. So it just it's forcing the other teams to do something. You know, I made the mistake there in wrecking. I didn't have the corner speeds down like I should. it's been a while since I raced this, so I was about 5 kph off on that S curve. Otherwise, I had the win, so that was my own fault. Things feel a little different today with the changes. I do notice the wheel overlap's a little different. Not good or bad, just different. So some adjustment there. I think that might have been my wreck. On New York, some of the lane changes when we were on Uncrashable felt a little different. Like I said, not good or bad, just different. So something for people to get used to. But yeah, it was a good day. It was fun.
Well, it was an impressive race, and I do like that all these small nuances, like when an update like this hits, which is rather large, it does change and it takes a while to get used to it. But thank you, Casey. It was good to have you here in the stream for Zone K. It was good watching, as we can just hear from Quentin Molyneux as well, because Quentin, that is officially the streak coming to an end. Is it tears in Belgium?
No, not at all. I couldn't really follow the scoreboard, so I'm not sure where I ended up, but the last race in Saturn was I don't know, it was a weird crash for me because I was doing 33 kilometers an hour in the S-bend, and I must have hit someone who just went down. I think I hit Tim or something, but that made me crash, and that really messed up my race.
Your voice seems a bit cracking off here. I mean, what, are you getting sick too? What's happening?
No, I'm not getting sick, but I have a few things in my throat, apparently.
Oh, well, the only way to get rid of those is another victory. So are you going to be back here for Zone L?
No, I won't be. I'm getting off the bike.
Oh, come on. Oh, well, I'm sure that'll be to the enjoyment of many others, as we've got 7 minutes before the next race. Good to see you on here, Quentin. Rest up, and we'll see you again further on into the week. Now, I do see we've got a few riders getting back in here. I want to get Frank's take on the last zone, at least, before we set our eyes here on Zone L. If Frank can hear me, I think he may have the headphones out. We'll try for a second. Frank, can you hear me?
I was like, wow.
Oh, nope, I don't think so. I think he's chatting to his teams in the audio widget. So, without further ado, we can get ready for the next zone. And we've got new riders joining into the broadcast. We've got Ryan Goldenberg coming in, we've got Kale Laguna, we've got Nigel Doyle, we have Timothy Tamont, and Beth York. So plenty of racers getting ready here as the next zone is setting up. I did see your message, Cameron, that you're excited for Saturn. Well, you're excited for Zone L. I'll tell you this, I am too, man. I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying seeing all these new faces and seeing familiar faces. The storylines is all quite awesome. So with 6 minutes to go before the next race, we're just doing some changes on the production side. We'll be doing Kayla's mountain track again. We'll do 5 laps. We'll have Cityscape New York, which will be 2 laps, which the last time on Cityscape New York, you blink twice, the race was over. It was so incredibly quick. Vibeke pulled out a great second place, where Tim, as always, just so dominant. Never ever seems to make a mistake, and when he does, he has a way of rectifying them when the time comes to it. Lakeview Lanes, 4 laps. Last time we saw cycling up with 3 riders off the front. And then we finish off once more with Saturn, which Casey went early. Tim and Timothy and Carl were chasing down. Nils and Ryan were there too. But it was Timothy Tamont who in the end ended up taking the victory. Now, as we wait for the riders to join in on the VMix calls, I think we do have Jennifer Garcia available as well on audio. So let's see for a second. Jennifer, can you hear me?
I thought I was on, but I might not be. I mean, I can hear them talking. So.
Oh, never mind. I think it might be to somebody else. So we are left all by ourselves now, Mixer Chat, as the riders come back in, they get ready. So if you have any fun little bit of tidbits, feel free to add them in the chat as we're watching the last few highlights of Zone K. That is Casey Shum on the attack. I mean, Cycling Hub, they just seem to have it here, but the competition was closing in. Big starting field today. Big peloton, riders were getting closer. Maybe Season 2 of the CVRcade World Cup, when it comes to team, we'll see a change in hierarchy at the top. Now, Ryan is in the broadcast, I see. Ryan, the last zone. First of all, I want to know, were you trying to block Niels Heldens?
Maybe. I was in it's funny, you just caught me on my phone. I had somebody asking me if I was in a blocky mood today.
Oh.
I kind of
Did that person happen to be Nils Heldens?
No, but somebody very close to Niels. I'll just leave it at that.
Well,
but I
are you
was
in a
trying to
blocking
block
mood?
him. I was in K, but I might be in a better mood in L. I just needed to, loosen up some cobwebs. But I'm feeling good. I was just having a bit of fun.
You usually end up seeing this stuff return back, Ryan. When you are in a blocking mood in one zone, you come back, you see a lot of returning faces. It's a dangerous life to live, my friend, but it's your life to live. I'll say, Vixen really came out to play in the last zone. Cycling up once more, strong at the top, but what about Vibeke, Carl, you executed well.
Yeah, so that's part of what I was trying to do is to help Vibeke. Hold on 1 second, I need to turn off my I was just trying to help Vibeke out on Lakeview Lanes, which is funny because technically it doesn't look like I really needed to with the way the scoreboard showed it. But yeah, I was just trying to be up there and sort of get in the way of other guys. But yeah, she looked great.
Well, the season 2 being team-oriented, I'm excited to see. You guys have been recruiting aggressively. You've even got Nigel Doyle, who's now in the stream. Let's go and have a word with Nigel, because Nigel, we've gotten used to seeing you be the king of the bot patrol. What about this race? Are we going back? Are you putting on the crown once more?
No, not this. Maybe later on today in Zone T, I might go for it, but no, I'm just looking after the bots.
Well, Musk, Clarence, and Thomas, they will all be regretting these news as they hear them live, Nigel. It's not the same without you, but what do you think? Season 2, it's going to be team-oriented, more news to come. What do you think about that decision?
Oh, I think that's good. We need to change it around. We can't just keep, doing the same thing over and over again. So having to ride as a team will be great. It's actually very enjoyable. I know a few times in the past where we've ridden together as teams, and we've had to work for our team leader. It's very enjoyable.
Well, what about the move you've made to Vixen? Do you think your odds will be greater at Vixen compared to CCC, or how do you compare those two?
Well, we've got a bigger team and team velocity, so that helps. I think we've got a range of abilities, whereas Team CCC, I think we had 3 or 4 of us sort of on a very similar level. I think in Vixen, we've got a range of abilities. So
I love that diplomatic answer, Nigel. I'll let you live with that one just because you are the king of the bots. But we'll let you get ready here for more racing, Nigel. Good to have you in the stream. So we'll just show you here. We've got Jennifer Garcia joining in the broadcast for this one. I saw her message in the chat earlier saying she's remedied the flat tire which she acquired for Zone K. Means she'll be back in for Zone L. Ryan Goldenberg is joining us. You heard from him earlier. I see Nils Heldens is in the chat, a Spitfire. Not happy with Ryan Goldenberg, but that will probably come back in spades. Kayla Laguna of Team CVR is in the broadcast as well. She is ready to rock and roll. We'll see what she can bring to the table. The first zone flew by. Honestly, doesn't even feel like it's happened. But we're already here for Zone L for more awesome racing. Kayla Laguna, first zone of the day. We've seen her really shine through here in the second zone when we get here to Zone L because everybody else slightly tired. You've already done it once and now they know. The speed on this one is going to be high, but Kayla, with a bit of a technical malfunction there on her end, going to 0 equalized watts. That's not to her advantage. We've also got Beth York joining us in the broadcast today here. So Velocity Vixen upping their numbers. Jeff Rooney goes out. Tag teaming in is Beth York. That is that's a straight over swap. Both of them have been getting really strong. Beth and Kayla recently in this zone have been destroying it. As Timothy, I think Timothy's also joining us in the stream. Doesn't look like he has made his way in. So running home from work to get into the race. He is not in the stream. Looks like Jennifer might be in that call anyway. So who will it be here? It's Jennifer, second place. Moving on up. Last zone. it was Frank Garcia with an early attack with Casey, with Timothy, and as soon as Frank hit the front, he said he was a Cade cadet, meaning he gets brought on back. This is when the system is not quite confident in your ability as a rider. Are you strong? Are you on the weak side? Does it need to bring you up on physical equalization, or does it need to bring you down? Of course, in Frank's incident, it has to bring you way down when he's bringing all this power to the table. That's why when he hits the front, it's like, oh, wait a minute, I know who you are, and it brings him back to the back of the pack here. 2.4 kilometers remaining. Ben Shuilong has made it as well. Frank with back-to-back omniums here, so looks like he's caught the buck as we look at what the situation currently is for him. He sits 5th place, if I can click his name, when this many riders are in a low-skill event. When Uncrashable, Corner Caper, and Quantum Shift are on, it is very, very difficult to get the right person at the right time. I do see in the chat that we got Aaron Starboy in the chat as well, part of the hashtag Caps Lock gang. Well, Aaron, welcome to the stream. Look forward to seeing you race later on tonight in Zone T. Nigel Doyle has gone back to the butts, and so Nigel says he will not be the king of the butts, but sometimes you can't help it. Clarence, Musk, when you've got Butts United, you've got, the daily meetings, you've got to be there. You've got to be part of the Butts. You've got to be one of the guys. And Nigel Doyle is back there. He won't let a man go without a brother. As Ryan Goldenberg using Comeback Kid here to get back on terms. So letting go of the group. Maybe he got blocked out. In that case, it'd only be by himself. And so he's got Timothy. He needs to get back on. He's fully Velocity Vixen out. 1.2 kilometers left. Final lap is coming up here as we get ready for the finish line. Here we've got Beth on the left, Frank on the right here. We saw what Frank was like sprinting in the previous zone versus Quinton. Now going up against Beth York. Again, we point out Timothy Tamont on this track has a strong track record. But so has Frank. So has Allison. She has been getting better as well. The sprint coming up is going to be explosive. 700 meters remain. Beth, Vibeke, Ben, Frank, Timothy, Peter, Jennifer, and Allison. Peter cannot be ruled out. He has won countless low-skill events. Here we go. On the incline, they can start feeling it if they're out of the draft. 400 meters. Frank standing up. Beth standing up. The salt, the pure salt on Frank's helmet, on his hat right now. Oh, Vibeke comes to the front. Jennifer in 2nd place. Tim is in here as well. I did not catch him first time around. Here we go into the sprint finish. On the front, it is Jennifer Garcia currently in the lead. Timothy comes through. Ben comes through. 1, 2, and 3 for Jennifer Garcia, Ben Shuilong, and Timothy Tamont. Timothy ends up taking the win. Vibeke 4th, Tim 5th, Beth 6th, Peter in 7th. That is a surprise. Load up the instant replay. So we're coming around here to the finish line. It is just all anxiousness. Everybody, you can kind of feel the nerves. You don't want to go too early. You don't want to go too late. And you look at the riders nearby list. Look to the right. Vibeke at 800. Jennifer at 800. So very, very high up on the equalized watts here. 192. Timothy's at 163. He ends up winning this race, and he is chilling. He is not bothered at all. And here you've got Pink Panther 1, Pink Panther 2, and Jennifer Garcia crossing the finish line. Timothy, he times the lunge at the very end, and he nails it as he crosses the line, taking home 30 points. So you also get a celebration from Jennifer. Now, we don't have Timothy, we don't have Ben. We'll go to Jennifer in 3rd place. Congratulations, Jennifer. I believe you 3 are teaming up. I must feel quite good to take the entire podium.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm really excited for the 3 of us to get up there. Hopefully we can keep our spot. So.
Now, that sprint, you loaded up. I know you already had some endorphins, some adrenaline from trying to fix a flat tire. Does that help? Does that bring some more power, that lack of urgency?
My arms are a little tired, but besides that, yes. I was definitely really excited. I had to go run and buy one, so I was like in my car, went to the store, came back, really excited. So we'll see what we can do.
Now, I do also believe today is your birthday, correct?
That is correct.
So does this mean
Gotta
you've
take
asked
a
the
win for
entire...
today.
Sorry?
I said I gotta get the win for today.
Well, I was going to say, does this mean you've been around asking the community, hey, could today just be my day? Like, So and L, could I just please get a victory, guys?
No, that's no fun. I want them to give it their all, make some fair competition, and get a real win.
That is fair and square, but we all know on the down low, she's been around asking people to take it easy today. We'll see how it goes here in Cityscape, New York, coming up next. Good luck, Jennifer. We've got Beth York in here as well, who was on the screen in the sprint. Welcome to the stream, Beth. Velocity Vixen, you've been killing it today. What can we expect from you and the crew here in the second zone?
Well, I'm the one that has fresh legs, so there's probably a little pressure on me to bring something here. Great to see the efforts in the earlier zones. I was in and out of the broadcast watching what was going on. Super proud of the efforts. But what we've seen is that with some of these racers, doesn't matter if they're doing back-to-back omniums, they still have a lot of legs in them. So I expect this race to be pretty fierce. It's interesting to hear Casey's perspective on the earlier racing. And yeah, I'm just excited to be racing. I'm glad Jennifer's in this zone. Usually she's, happy birthday, Jennifer. Usually she's in zone T and I'm commenting, so I don't get to race with her. So it'll be fun to be in the pen. I see Allison. And so yeah, it's a good crew here out on course. I'm excited.
Well, good luck in this next one. It's got to be quick. Like the last one was over before it even started.
Yeah.
50 seconds before we go, let's get a quick word from Kayla. Kayla, welcome into the stream as well. How are the legs feeling today?
Legs are feeling good. Had a little bit of break over the weekend, so they're feeling a little bit fresh. I had a bit of a difficulty with my trainer and my amp class, so I think I got that fixed on my side at least. So ready to go for this race, and should be fun with 2 laps on Cityscape.
Well, good luck in this one, Kayla, as we get ready. 25 seconds remaining. Everybody getting their happy birthdays in the chat, as I can see. It's good to have DK Mansuni joining us in the chat. The honor guest, the MVP of the chat time and time again. We've got Homeward Frame, we've got Supermarine Spitfire, we've got Aaron Starboy, we've got several more people. Thank you very much for joining in on the action as the racing gets underway. The Pink Panthers have come back to life. Timothy, Ben Shuilong, Jennifer Garcia out on track. They took the podium. They sweeped it. Now we get ready for more as Frank Garcia as well. I think Frank wants a win. The reason he's back on here for the second Omnium of the day, I think he thinks that there's a win waiting for him. When you come in, you've been getting better and better. Things are looking to come your way. If you change one decision. Oh, we've got an early breakaway here. Keep an eye on this. Jennifer, Ben, and Beth have gone on to the front. Jennifer just laying down the pace. You've got Timothy controlling it further back down here. I wonder if Timothy is going to start playing the intruder and just try and slow things down here as he is in 5th wheel. Frank and Kayla just behind him. This is very, very early. But Timothy, we saw in the last zone, he got blocked hard by Quentin Molinese. He lets Kayla on through. What does he do here? Kayla in 5th place is finding her way. So just from the gun, within a minute of racing, we've already got a breakaway here with Kayla trying to chase it down. Side by side, 2 members of the breakaway, Velocity Vixens. Beth York joined by, I'm just going to call them the Pink Panthers at this point because that was one of my favorite teams of the Team League. But Jennifer Garcia as well joining up. You got Frank using his power-ups. You got Kayla using power-ups as well. So now it is panic stations from the riders behind. They do not want to get left behind once more. They saw this happen in Zone K. It was Vibeke, it was Allison, it was Tim. Casey came across, but it was a late bridge. Same thing for Niels Heldens towards the end. But Kayla, so that's 1 rider from Team Cycling Up, sits at the back here of Tim Fulford. Nigel Doyle, 4 seconds back. He puts a block. He puts a block on Frank Garcia. That was a block and a half. See if Frank Garcia is showing any sort of emotion, as I hope we have that up on the replay. Frank with the thumbs up. If we do have the replay loaded up, let's see if we caught it as Nigel Doyle. Look on the right-hand side of the screen. Nigel is at 41 kilometers an hour. He is a member of Team Velocity Vixen. We'll come to Frank in a second and talk to him as we've got the replay going. But Nigel goes from 41 down to 12. Frank Garcia, talk me through it.
That was a reverse block. He thought he was blocking me, but I was blocking him. I was done. So fading off the back, annoying velocity, and he took the bait. Woohoo! Go Jenna!
That is a positive outlook on life if I've ever seen one. I'll remember that next time I get slammed upon. Let's go to Nigel real quick to get a rebuttal. Nigel, you've been Frank Garcia at, what do you think?
We're just playing around. He was moving around, trying to get in front of me. I'm not racing this, so I thought I'll just get in front of him, put on a big, put the brakes on. I don't care where I come in this. This is just fun.
Love it, Nigel. Love it. Thank you so much. This is good fun, guys. As that's probably one of the rivalries on the platform that's been lasting for the longest time. Frank Garcia versus Nigel Doyle. I mean, we've been streaming for a bit over a year. If you saw our comparison post on Facebook earlier today, you'd see how far it's come. Both the stream quality, but also the game. Like the gameplay, the graphics, everything has come so far. But one thing has remained the same. Nigel Doyle and Frank Garcia, they like teasing each other. They have a good camaraderie out there. We've been through thick and thin together here. As Farquhar Chips, is that Lord Farquhar? Says, what basic setup do you need for this? Well, Lord Farquhar, that's a great name. I know Frank's going to blame me for name envy, but all I can think of is Shrek now. So you're an all-star. But Farquhar, all you need for this, if you already have a bike, is a trainer that goes on the back. It replaces with your back wheel. You can kind of see, if you look to the left of Jennifer Garcia in the mirror, you'll see a back wheel spinning. So Jennifer has her bike connected up to this indoor trainer that then connects to her computer and transmits all the data. Her changing the lanes, her increasing the power, and her moving goes straight on through that. So that, if you don't have a turbo trainer, you can get it through the CVRcade hardware store. And there are two ways of doing that. You can either go through the game itself. So if you, ooh, Ryan puts on a block. Second time today, Ryan Goldenberg blocks somebody. I mean, there's gonna be some revenge and some payback over the course of 2020 here as Ryan starts it off this way. But you can either go online to CVRcade.com and then go to the hardware store, or you can download the game at CVRcade.com, open it up, and then use the hardware store built into the game, and you can get it. It's quite quick, very, very cheap here. So as we've got the side-by-side screen, you've got Jennifer on the front here, 196 equalized heart rate. We're on the last lap here on Cityscape New York. It's gone very quick here. Ryan sitting on the back, surrounded by the Pink Panthers. He's got Beth York with him. Tim's on the front here as well. But Jennifer is adopting the strategy of Alison Kubota. Just kill them over time. Go as quick as you can for as long as you can. Whoever stays with you, and they will most likely come around you at the end. But Beth York, 196 as well. When she is not busy in here. Oh, we got Farquhar saying, I'm from the UK, looking for something for esports. Oh, Farquhar, I'm from the UK as well. So we are broadcasting this out of Manchester. So if you ever need any help, I'm always available on a phone call or anything. You can hit me up on Facebook. Name is Jesper Anchor. So if you want some help getting onto the platform, because this is esports. I mean, this is the embodiment of physical esports. As Tim Fulford goes on to the attack. Beth is there. Further back here, Kayla Laguna is being distanced with Ryan Goldenberg. Phil Lovett in 8th place. I love it. He is in just out of range of 7th place. But now you've got to be ready. Tim is just shaking out the legs here. He's trying to get rid of his fellow companions. He's been here before. He feels fresh. He knows he's up against two teammates, Timothy and Jennifer. As Timothy uses wind at his back, he's going to increase the pace. Now Beth York goes on to the attack as well with her wind at her back. So power-ups being deployed, Jennifer just bumping into Beth. And the reason why that's happening is because of uncrashable ability. It's a power-up that changes the dynamic of the game. You can slide into other riders and you won't crash because of the ability. As Farquhar says, cool, I'm at Lynx and Norfolk. Well, if you need any help, we are here for you. As I meant, there's a good story behind Norfolk, man, but that'll be a story for another day. As Beth on the back here, Ryan comes back as well. 1.7 kilometers to go. Right-hand side of the gameplay is Jennifer Garcia. She uses Razor's Edge. Who is going to be there? Beth on the left. On the move, she uses Razor's Edge as well, but no power is coming out yet. Jennifer is at her limit. It's the birthday. 200 equalized watts. Will this be the gift she's been wanting? Will all that talking to every single community member going, please, please, come on, it's my birthday. Will it work out or not? Just time will tell here. 2 seconds is the difference. Tim flies by Beth. Will she try and get on the wheel here? She may not. Tim, now next on the line is Jennifer Garcia. He's at 195. She's at 202. This is going to be a tough finale here coming to the end. But it looks like once more it'll be Tim Fulford versus one of the female competitors out on track. Thanks to physical equalization, this is going to be an exciting finish. Who do you think is going to win? 1 kilometer to go in the chat right now. As Ryan is coming back, Beth's coming back. Jennifer is just blocking Tim. 800 meters. Ryan is coming on through here, and he's going to fly on by. And then he blocks into Tim. So once more, Ryan is going in. He wants to slow it all down. 700 meters left. Velocity Vixen, Tim has wind at his back. He's been saving it, but Ryan bumps into him, and there he goes. Now, Jennifer is trying to attack away as well with wind at her back. Can she get into second place? It looks like Tim is gone with the win. There's Ryan with another block. Ryan Goldenberg does Jennifer dirty there as Beth York comes on through. I can see on Ryan's face, it's all smiles. Meanwhile, for Beth, she is head down. It's all business. She's got to finish this. But then Ben Shuilong says, no you don't. Not my teammate, not the Pink Panthers. Razor's Edge. Out of nowhere, Ben Shuilong comes on back. That was a fantastic race. Tim, once more, just that tad bit above the rest. Ben Shuilong, solid second place. Beth York will get third. She dug deep for that one. Jennifer and Ryan now. There will be some stern words with Ryan Goldenberg after his racing today. I love Ryan. Ryan is a really good friend. I just love when Ryan goes, I don't really block that much. I don't think I block more than the rest. Well, Ryan, today that excuse is no longer valid ever. As Kayla will cross the line next. Then we've got Nigel Doyle going up against a former teammate, Peter Castro, as he's going to try. He's looking over, just making sure he doesn't have to go too hard, as that is all that was to ride for Cityscape New York. I do like that Timothy, despite being in the front, finished that far down. Frank Garcia, Homer Thompson, and Vibeke Bertram also with the butts. Next up is Lakeview Lanes. But this finish, that block from 34 kilometers an hour, from above 40 down to 30, down to 28. We'll get a word from Ryan Goldenberg in a second here, because that'll be interesting to hear. But Beth, Ben, Tim, Jennifer, Kayla, that is what CVRcade is about. Farquhar, I know you were looking for esports. How about them apples? I mean, that was exciting to watch. That was back and forth. You did not know who was going to win it. Farquhar says, what distance are the races? Sorry for the question. Also, is there an Xbox conversion planned? The distance of the races, you'll see in the top right-hand corner. Like right now, it's 0 as Tim has crossed the line. And there's also currently Xbox closed beta. So, Farquhar, sign up on CVRcade.com. Leave a little note saying you're Farquhar Chips. And then I'm sure that we can see to get you in to the closed beta of the CVRcade Xbox. Now, Ryan, explain yourself.
There was a point at which I realized I couldn't take the race myself. And so I saw another teammate up there who was Beth, and she was riding well. And I thought if I could get her some more points, that would look good for her on the day. I wasn't going out from the start in the same mood that I was in the last zone. So if she hadn't been up there, I wouldn't have done what I did. But it just worked out that way.
It was good in the end. It was fun to watch, but that excuse of saying you no longer block too much, Ryan, both zone K, zone L here. I'm excited to see how the community turns it around, because there's been a theme of what goes around comes around. So are you afraid of the retaliation?
Oh, it was definitely coming around. In fact, it came around before it went around. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah, from the gun, I was getting blocked. Again, with good intentions in the race. And then it just sort of came back the other way at the end.
Well, let's go and chat.
Yeah, I definitely have to work to get up there.
That was good racing. We don't have Tim, we don't have Ben in here, but we do have Jennifer, who we chatted to just briefly earlier. Jennifer, the receiving end of the block of the day, the efforts. It looked like you were a woman on a mission there.
Yeah, I was really excited because there was some good gameplay on our team going on with getting me to go on that sprint there. And obviously it didn't work out. That block probably hurt more than any block to date. But Ben finished second, which was really awesome. I think I finished like maybe fourth or fifth, which is all right. So all around, good play by Ryan, but very painful.
That is part of the game. Good luck here in the next race on Lakeview Lanes. As the highlights are just rounding up here, we've got a full scoreboard we'd like to show you as well, because currently Tim is leading by 1 point ahead of Ben Shuilong. I believe Tim is joining the broadcast for this race, or perhaps the next one, but he's 1 point ahead of Ben Shuilong. Then you've got Jennifer down in third place, 14 points behind Tim. You've got Beth in fourth, who is 16 points, and Timothy, who is about 20, Ryan in fifth, Vibeke 7, and then Kayla 8th, Allison 9th, etc. Here you can see it on your screen right now, so if you need that screenshot, take a screenshot on your phone, on your computer, that way you know what you've got it, but we'll also come to it in the race when we go to the split screen as well. We'll keep you updated on the tight scores as the racing continues. We've got Tim Fulford now, who is in the race as well, who's joining us as we look further down. Ryan Goldenberg in here. He says it was coming around before it was going around, but now it's coming around again. We need to have a logic test on Ryan. I'm not sure what that sentence is. Almost like how much wood could a woodchuck chuck, but it's already chucked wood, so how much wood? I mean, that is kind of what I was getting out of that one, Ryan. Frank is back in as well in the racing here. So rested up. He sat back after a fast start on Cityscape New York. What can he bring to the table on Lakeview Lanes? Now, Farquaad also asks, how does it even out people's efforts? And that, my dear friend, is the bread and butter of CVRcade. That is why this is esports. Physical equalization is something magical. You see all these racers. You see Frank, who has raced in his career before. He's got to be careful he doesn't crash. He does not. Then you've got riders like Tim. If we bring up the side-by-side screen here. Now, two riders at two very different points of their career physically are able to compete very accurately and very fairly in a game such as CVRcade, thanks to something CVR pioneered called physical equalization. It takes your physical effort and normalizes it across the rest. So instead of looking at how much absolute power you can produce, how strong you are, how physically you are, let's say you go to the gym, doesn't matter if you can bench 100 kilos or 10 kilos, the game is going to look at it and it's going to bring you up to a reference curve. So if you're above it, it's going to make sure to bring you a tiny bit down. If you're below it, it's going to bring you a tiny bit up. So essentially, if Tim and Frank are both giving their absolute all, doesn't matter if for Frank, if that's 200 watts, and for Tim it's 400. Ooh, as Frank tries to get one back on Beth, but Beth comes around, does not get caught up in Frank blowing a gasket come the end there. So, but if they're both going their absolute all, they'll be going equally as quick in the game. So I hope that does explain it. Otherwise, there's a great blurb in the chat from the moderator. So Tim, who's now in the stream, you briefly saw him side by side. Tim has been dominant. He won the CVRcade World Cup Season 1 bracketed session tournament. And I know that's a mouthful, but with that mouthful comes $3,000, which helped ease over. Ooh, Peter goes down. Helped ease over Christmas period. But Tim's on the attack. Ben is there. Beth is down in third place. Jennifer just hanging on. So that effort in the previous race definitely coming back to haunt you now, but you've got to try and fight in here. 4 kilometers an hour is the wind. So yes, some tracks do have wind. You can see the speed and the direction in the bottom right-hand corner. And where they are currently, it's a cross tailwind coming from the back left, I believe. Or it might actually be different. I'm not too good at reading that compass in the game. But here's Beth. She's on the wheels. You got Ben up there as well. Ben wasn't sure he was going to make the racing today, but he's in here. Then you've got Nigel Doyle, who in the last zone fell victim to Frank's reverse psychology. He wanted to get blocked, and so Nigel blocked him. I'm not sure on the validity in that one, but for the time being, we'll let that one go with it. But Nigel in 6th place with Allison, with Kayla, with his previous teammate Peter. Ryan is down here as well as we go to the front. 3-rider group. Tim on the front, putting down the pain. Beth York in 3rd place here, as we can see them riding on through. Farquaad says, thanks for the info. I will put it to our gym and esports team. Oh, Farquhar, you should send me an email, man. You should get on Facebook, Farquhar, and then let's see if we can cut to me for a second here. So we've got Ben in the front group. Farquhar, the best thing you can do, you see my name down here? Go to Facebook, then search my name. You'll see it here. When you go there, send me a friend request, send me a message. I will help you out as much as I can, man. I'm available. Not only am I talking through the streams, I'll help you in any way I can over on Facebook. So a name, Jesper Anker. I'll see you on Facebook. But here you go, back to the front of the racing. Beth York was just near the front. She gets back in, but her equalized heart rate is raised. It's at 191 comparing to the rest. Oh, let's go back. I'm not sure what's happening here. Go back to the... oh, sorry, I'm just seeing it now. Frank wants to chat near the back here. Sorry, Frank, what did I miss?
Yeah. All right. You're
Stand there, Ben.
now. Hold on.
You got this.
Oh, we can go back. We can go back to Frank.
Okay.
I think we heard back. I'm not sure if that was the audio. Let's try and turn on Frank's audio again just so we don't get the rest. You're on now, Frank.
Yeah, I had to mute the rest of the team, who Ryan has made a great enemy of for the rest of all time. Every time I have a chance to take out Ryan or one of his teammates, I will. Taking out my daughter on her birthday. What are you thinking, man? Too much fun. But they should keep an eye in their rear view mirror. Whatever you do, don't let me pass you.
Well, you heard it here in the broadcast. That'll be fun to watch. So if you like that bit of word of warning from Frank, make sure to go click follow button right down below, because I'm sure there's going to be, well, I know for a fact there's going to be more racing here on the CVR World Cup Mixer page. So we go back to Nigel on the front. There's going to be more racing. We race every Tuesday, every Thursday, every Saturday. We have 3 zones every time. We have got zones K, L, and T today. So we've seen K. We're at the end of L almost, and there'll be T later on in 7 hours' time as Beth goes down. How did that happen? Beth falls down. She goes to the side. We've got that one on the highlights here. She's got to use a power-up perhaps to get back on. Let's see if we can bring that one up. She waits. She used path of least resistance. So in the front, Beth York moves across. I think she moves one too much. She's there, she's attentive, and it's just one lane swap too much to the right that sees her hit the red obstacles on the right and falls on down. And this opens the opportunity. They were 3, they're now down to 2. And side by side, you've got Tim Fulford, you've got Ben Shuilong here as they are riding. Farquhar, I've just seen your friend request on Facebook. Thank you very much. I will chat to you after the racing is over. But Nigel Doyle, first of all, he's a rival of Frank at CCC. Now that he's wearing Velocity Vixen colors, I would definitely have my rearview mirror attached at all times. You know, when you have those cyclists outside and they've got their little rearview mirror attached to their bikes, I think Nigel needs to go out and invest in one of those in order to have an eye on Frank here in the racing. So good to see. You've got DK Mansumi saying Season 2 equals #war season. There's going to be so many grudges that are going to be played out across Season 2. There's going to be so many stories, especially since it's team racing. as we bring up the side-by-side screen of Tim and Nigel. We look at the scoring here. It has massive implications at the top. Tim versus Ben to win this race would take the lead. Oh, Frank Garcia. I think, bring that one up on the replay. I'm not sure. You saw him just come into the frame. You look on the side of Tim. So you can see Frank is the guy moving. I think he's trying to find Nigel out on track as he just misses it. We'll get confirmation. I think he actually executed it. Frank, were you looking for Nigel?
No, this is the funniest thing ever. I was so irritated with Ryan that I broke one of my buttons on my controller. Or I didn't break it, but I pulled the top, the cap of it off. And so no, I was looking down, where's my button, and pushing buttons, just, I don't know why pushing the buttons, but completely unintentional. But if I got Nigel, that's all I have to say.
Let's go to Ryan. I know Ryan is chasing it down here. Ryan, you have caused quite the stir today. You seem to be the time. How does this make you feel?
I didn't realize it was Jenna's birthday today. That might have changed what I was doing.
It's too late to take it back, Ryan. It's too late.
Okay, it's too late to take it back. But I will give Jenna a wheel. She can choose to trust it or not. I'll say it on air. And maybe I can earn some trust back from whoever's working with Jenna back there.
I would not want to be in your shoes right now, my friend, but I will keep a keen eye to see if you can slowly dig yourself out of the grave that has been dug. Meanwhile, on the front, Nigel Doyle, Tim Fulford, Alison Kubota. Nigel, calm and composed, drinking water, sitting up, probably preparing a few more dance moves come the finish line. Alison, though, she's done well on this track. She was up here before she got dropped off. She's here. Ben Shuilong just fighting to get back on as well, as the Pink Panthers here have been trying. They've done well as well for them here in Zone L, taking the podium in the first race, getting second in the next race. But Tim's been up there now. Nigel is accelerating. He moves to the left. We're on the final lap of Lakeview lanes. The power-ups are available. We've not seen Tim use that many. Power plant, path of least resistance, and uncrashable. You look from above on Nigel's point of view. He's going away. Tim's closing it down. Allison and Ben are there. If we go further back, we look at the chasing group. Jennifer and Nigel in direct competition for third spot on the podium. 2.5 points is the difference. If we can bring up the big scoreboard as well, you can see what that one looks like as the full view here. Jennifer, Beth, Nigel, Ryan, Allison, they're all competing for that third spot as Peter. Oh, the Flying Dutchman, no longer so flying, goes falling down. 1.8 kilometers to go. Nigel versus Tim is unfolding on the front. Who will be victorious here on Lakeview Lane, Zone L? Tim? He's starting to look a bit flustered. You can see his hair getting it's a bit like Quinton. The harder it gets, the tougher, the more fatigued he is, the more uneven his hair gets. Now, Nigel doesn't have that issue. He doesn't have that tell. So maybe he'll get his advantage here as you get a smile out of Nigel. Tim, just trying to utilize the apex every turn he gets into. Sprint's coming up. Tim doesn't want to leave it late. 800 equalized what? Nigel has been with the butt patrol. Musk, Clarence, Thomas, they're all sitting there. They're cheering on with their ones and zeros. They want Nigel to come on through for this one and really sit at the top of the throne. 1 kilometer remaining. Once more, Mixer chat, all 25 of you, I want to know, who do you think? Who do you think is going to take this one? Yes, I do see DK Mansuni. The name tags will be updated as of tomorrow. We did realize that as well. But with all these roster changes, it's tough to keep track. But yes, the name tags will be correct as of Thursday's stream. But Nigel's come through now. Tim's in second wheel. They've already seen one sprint today on Lakeview Lanes. It was Quinton Molinez beating Tim to it, but Tim has got the power. Here we go. Velocity Vixen. Nigel's got all smiles. Comes on through. Tim is getting a bit of a draft, but we are in a tough section with the wind. This Tim with path of least resistance. Nigel with power plant. Tim tries to come on through, and Frank once more is just the obstructor. He is a live obstacle out on track. We can see Tim will take it. We are Borg, says Pink Sauce. 400 meters. Power plant from Tim. Side by side. Who does the advantage go to? That last corner is tight. Nigel doesn't have the cadence. Tim sits in. 200 more meters. This is gonna be so close. But once more, the machine that is Tim Fulford, who does not feel pain, just goes on through, takes the win on Lakeview Lanes. He had to work for that one. Nigel Doyle, proud second place. Ben will become third, Allison fourth. Then we'll keep an eye on the two teammates, Ryan Goldenberg, Beth York. Now, Ryan did say he'd help out Jennifer in this one to gain back the points, but 4 places in between them here as Ryan and Beth. Now, they are coming to the finish line. I think Ryan will let Beth come on through, and he does. Beth, with these points, would move up into third place. She would be 1.5 points ahead of Nigel Doyle in fourth. You got Peter, Timothy, Jennifer, Kayla, Homer, and Frank. And then we've got one more race left. We have got Saturn coming up after this. 3 laps, 1 wind at your back, Racer's Edge and Corner Caper. Pink Sauce called it. Going to win it, DK Mansuni. This was an awesome race. Further down, you've got Jennifer Garcia, Timothy Termont as well, as they've just got to finish this one off. Jennifer finds herself in 5th on her birthday, 6.5 points behind on Nigel. One more race here in our double banger stream with Zones K&L, and that will be all she wrote before we head to Zone T. But load up the instant replay. I like seeing Nigel Doyle versus Tim Fulford here. Nigel with a smile. Tim definitely out for blood in this one. I'm just so impressed with Tim's ability to always make the right decision. That goes a long way when you're in a pressured situation, because don't forget, they're at, what, 200 equalized heart rate? Right now, Tim is at 194, and you've got to think. You've got to have all the right, situations in your head. If this happens, then I've got to do that, and all these computations you have to make in, like, split seconds. Tim goes on to win, beats Nigel. Nigel just lacking that bit of steam. We've got Tim on audio. Tim, thanks for joining in the stream at this late, but you versus Nigel, that was quite a good finish.
Yeah, it looked like Nigel really had the power and the heart rate under control. So, I'm not going to lie, I was a little bit worried. I'm an hour and a half, 2 hours into my session. So, definitely tickled. Great racing. Just enough wind to hurt, just enough wind to want to hide. So, yeah, Ben and Allison were there as well. So, great racing, 4 different teams all going at it, so really good fun.
Now, last time Casey and Timothy finished ahead of you. What about this time?
Yeah, my Saturn last time around was just a comedy of errors. Crashing on the first lap, fat fingering a corner caper on a straight. So we'll look to improve tactics on this one, but I don't know what the scoreboard says, but we'll give it a go. Should be fun.
Should be fun. Let's get a word from Beth, who is currently 1.5 points ahead of Nigel on the scoreboard. Beth, 1 race away from getting onto the podium. Are we going to do it?
I'll do my best. Yeah, you were right on that crash. It was just one too many. I'm ready. Super fun racing. I love Lakeview. It's one of my favorite tracks. That crash was a bummer, hard to recover from, and you're waging how much points do you try to get back on the race versus how much you save for the next one. But I was able to claw my way back to the chase group, overtake Jennifer and Timothy. Timothy tried to block. Frank tried to block. I'm getting better at avoiding the blocks, so it can be done. So you just got to be heads up. I think all that practice of me being blocked in the last season has made me a little sharper in anticipating it. So good racing, good tactics. But ha-ha, Timothy, ha-ha, Frank, you didn't get me.
Today is not a good day to be wearing Velocity Vixen kit. Last person we'll speak to before the racing, also wearing Velocity Vixen. Nigel, 30 seconds. Quickly sum up the last race.
It was one of those ones where I didn't really go out competitively, and then I sort of started moving through the field, and I thought, hey, hang on, if I sort of go a bit harder, I might do all right. And I did. So coming second to Tim, I'm happy with that.
You should take it. 6 seconds to go, Nigel. I'll let you put your phone down and get ready. No more pizza ordering as the Saturn race, the last race of Zone L, will get underway. Somehow Nigel Doyle managed to put down his phone and still come out like first, second, and third. I always feel like when you're on the start line, you're thinking, I don't want to be last. You're ready there. You've been ready for 2 minutes. And you're like, okay, now's the time. And somehow you still end up 10th, 11th out of the gate. Nigel Doyle, just sitting on his phone, he goes, yeah, I'm going to be first. So he's up there. We're about to see a rematch. Nigel on the podium is second. If we've got our graphic as well with the full scoreboard, like to bring that up just to show how it's currently shaping up, as it is a very close affair for the podium. As you can see, Tim at the top, leading points ahead of Nigel. Then you've got Ben in third, Beth in fourth, Timothy fifth, Jennifer sixth, Allison seventh, Ryan in eighth. And so every position matters here, especially that second and third spot on the podium, as we now go back to the racing at hand. Tim Fulford is trying to attack away as he has done this. He takes a page out of Casey Shum's book, rather be the one who aggressively gets away initially, force everybody else to react. And he has been racing for an hour and a half, so you'd assume the lactic acid in the legs are building up as well, as we now see Nigel Doyle here, second place. I like how Nigel nonchalantly went, I didn't really mean to go hard, I didn't mean to find myself in the win, but I looked up on the screen and, you know, it just happens. You find yourself with Tim Fulford in a two-man breakaway. You just love to see when that happens. So if I found another gear, I could probably do something. So Nigel must be having some diamonds in the legs today, as we're in space for the last time of Zone L. Remember, we've got more racing tonight with Zone T. We're going to see Aaron Starboy joining back in. It's going to be amazing more. Farquaad says, just been looking at your website, can't find UK prices. There is, of course, an email from our chat you can talk up to about that. As DK Masuni as well says, love Vibeke of all my heart, but to win an Omnium, a higher score, Tim is my favorite. Yeah, Tim is just of another world here. So it looks like Kayla is in here in 8th place. She has been fighting her way back here. She used to be so dominant in these races. Can she return back to form? Jennifer Garcia as well. She sees the podium chances slowly go out the window here. She was third earlier. Now she's down in 7th place overall. Meanwhile, on the front, the Flying Dutchman, seems like all we needed to do was put on our suits, put on the helmets, get some air in, and now Peter Kastrup in space, the astronaut he is, he's attacking away with Tim, with Nigel, with Timothy. I think Timothy here is playing domestique for Ben Shuilong. They're trying to work together and bridge across. Now, Ryan Goldenberg, who, I mean, he's on a most wanted list poster somewhere. It's hanging around Saturn on the side of Lakeview Lanes on Cityscape, New York. Have you seen this man? Reward 5,000 Jesper points. Last found blocking on every single track on CVRcade here. As he is focused, he gets on the wheel of Peter Kastrup here. But the momentum is different. If Ryan looks, he'll see he's at 37 and Ryan is at 39. Peter going out the back here, so he's going to have to work a bit harder. 3.5 kilometers remain. Nigel Doyle, Tim Fulford. The window is closed behind Tim, so he's not quite yet at the limit of what he's got. You know, when he's suffering, he tends to have that window on full display. But here we go. From the top on view, you can see Timothy, you can see Ben. They're just 3 seconds off. I think Nigel and Tim at this point, they're not too afraid of working together, because Nigel, to catch Tim, you can see the full scoreboard, it is a rough task. It's a tough task to get back up there, but to get second, that is very well within reach. But Nigel needs to win, and Ben needs to finish further down, because currently the difference is 8 points. We've got Ryan Goldenberg now. He can be the difference maker when it comes to the podium here. Nigel Doyle's newfound teammate. Because when I went to Nigel and said, Nigel, the next World Cup, Season 2, it'll be team-oriented. Oh, watch out for Timothy here. He might try another block. I said, Nigel, you've recently moved teams. Do you like your chances at CCC or Velocity Vixen better? Very diplomatically said, well, the new team has got more riders. We've got a chance here. And this is one of them. Ryan Goldenberg up here, if he can get ahead of Ben Shuilong, that will give Nigel more points. So, ooh, Timothy cuts it to the edge. Tim Fulford, Nigel Doyle, halfway through the racing. We're about to enter the spiral here as we go up the incline. It's 5.4%. I think it's 6% on the very tight inside of that corner. But Tim using the gradient, accelerating on through. Nigel Doyle here as we cut to the side-by-side once again. We've seen this a lot here in the second part of the Zone L. Now, again, this is the run-up to the CVRcade World Cup, Farquhar. Season 1 had a prize purse of $25,000. Oh, Nigel goes down! Oh, the man of 1,000 head shakes is back. This is not something we've seen in a while, so bring it up on the replay. Now, Farquhar, if you're new to the platform, which I assume you are, there's so many nuances that makes it like real-life cycling, but virtually, and that's why it's an esport. Corners have speeds. You've got to be aware of other riders. You can crash. You have power-ups. Timed correctly can be used. There, Nigel either does one or two things. He either slides out to the right by going too quick, or he's moving to the left when the speed is too high. He does find himself in 5th, and this means that Ben is currently in 2nd. For Ben to take the win, he would need to be 1st place here, and Tim would need to come 4th or 5th. I don't see it happening unless Tim makes a mistake, but if you look at Tim's face right now, this is a man who's not about to make a mistake. He admitted that he didn't have the best of experiences on Saturn the first time around, using corner caper on a flat piece of road, not really crashing on the first lap as well. It's Nigel and Ryan. Ryan with a win at his back here. Ryan Goldenberg playing the teammate he is for Nigel Doyle, trying to bring him back up, because Ryan is solidly in 5th place. Timothy is the threat there. They'll work together. Timothy uses wind at his back. Beth and Ryan, teammates, 4 points between them. But now that Timothy moves up, he moves above Ryan on the scoreboard. So Timothy Tamont, his one zone of the day, he is now in 5th place. Beth has one more position up here, so she's got to be careful. If Timothy catches Nigel, Timothy will move up above Beth on the scoreboard as well. So what does Nigel have to give here? Last kilometer. Corner caper, racer's edge, wind at your back is available here. You've got to use it. Ben is chasing Tim down. It's going to be a great task to get back up there. We are in space. This is the fantastical theme. Get ready. 700 meters, and that's all that is left. We're going to be out of rocket fuel. We're going to head back down to planet Earth here to figure out who's going to be at the top spot. Tim Fulford is just a man on a mission. This may be the run-up to Season 2, which is going to be team-oriented. So, Farquhar, look to bring your team on here. Donkey, Shrek, the rest, Fiona. Make sure to get them ready. As 400 meters remain. Season 2 is just around the corner. Season 1, $25,000. That's a lot of money. So make sure to get on. Physical equalization. Everybody's got a chance. Tim, 300 meters left. The chicane is coming up. Casey got this one horribly wrong last time, but when corner caper, which makes you unable to slide out, racer's edge, what makes you aerodynamic, Tim Fulford putting his foot down, saying, "This is my platform. Everybody else, get in line." He wins. The Omnium, the stage, or everything in between. Ben Shuilong will be 2nd. Nigel needs to keep Timothy at bay. If Timothy comes on through, he will move on up. And you can see Nigel, for pride, team, and glory, he will finish 3rd spot on the podium, keeping Timothy away. Ryan has got Peter Kastrup to contest with here. Ryan has got his corner caper. He'll come on through. Peter does so too, but doesn't look like they've got anything else, any other power-ups to give at the current moment in time. Ryan will cross the finish line in 6th place, which will make him 8th on the overall Omnium. We'll show you the full scoreboard in a second. Beth, great racing, great potential here, but come the end of it, still a good result in 4th. Nigel in 3rd, Ryan in 8th. Vixen have been strong. Cycling up, they still are number 1. But anything can change. You heard from Casey today that the update, it's kind of thrown a spanner in the works. The animation is different. Some of the feels are a bit different. And that's what CVRcade is amazing. We are still in beta. It's changing every single day, and you've got to stay up to date with it. Beth will finish. Then we've got Kayla Laguna as well coming across the finish line here on Saturn. Homer, Jennifer further down with the bot patrol. Now, that's it for KNL. Let's load up the instant replay as Tim Fulford this time does not make any mistake, I don't think so. Goes on to take the victory to no surprise to anyone when it is on. As Homeward Frame says, great race, Tim. DK Mansuni says, grats, Tim, as well. So Tim Fulford adding another one to the trophy case. Surely the Omnium trophy case is starting to fill out. Might need a second property just to place all those trophies in. But Tim, congratulations. What changed here between the first Omnium and the second Omnium?
And it's the last race of the day, so in that last lap when I had Ben hanging on, I thought our equalised heart rates were about the same, so if I suffer, he'll have to as well. So that was the plan. Then I had all 3 power-ups for the last sector to deploy what Ben did to me in the semi-final of the bracket. And yeah, once you're there, you're pretty confident you're not going to crash, so just took it home. Really good.
Well, congratulations, Tim. We've got more racing up tonight. We've got the last bit of the finish here. I like the fact that you used what Ben used against you to your advantage. It shows that you can catch somebody off guard, but when the cat is at the back, others will pick up on it. Thank you, Tim. Ben was second. We've also got Nigel Doyle on standby as we watch his crash. Nigel, when you crashed, what happened?
I thought I was going under the corner speed, so I don't know what was happening. Maybe I still had the brakes on. Sometimes if you're braking going into a corner, it's below the maximum corner speed, but you slide and you sort of a crash, so that was sort of threw a spanner in the works.
But it's a lesson learned. Third place, it was good up there. It looked like you guys had it under control, a bit more refinement, and I think you guys will be looking very strong for the upcoming Team League. Congratulations on third, Nigel. I still like the favorite comment of the day from Nigel was when he said, you know what, I accidentally found myself with Tim, and then I just kind of upped it a gear. Thank you, Nigel. I hope you have a great rest of your day as we'll see you in Zone T. Next up, fourth place, let's get a few words from Beth York, because Beth always wants to share a few words of wisdom. Fourth place, Beth, it looked like you suffered a bit on the last race.
Oh, yeah, I did. I had an early crash. I could see Timothy come out of the line and try to set the pace. Like I knew his avatar was a little... I knew which avatar was his, and I was keeping an eye on it because I know he's trying to throw Jennifer further up. So I was trying to avoid him. I found myself out in the wind. I had my mini camera side angle. It looked like I was clear of the overlapping wheels to try to get back into the peloton, but I misjudged the timing and tucked back in and had an early crash. So that cost me. But you know, this is what's so great about the run-up is, you know, as we watch the replay here, I mean, just such good racing. And it just feels so amazing to have all of these racers out here trying different tactics, racing against each other. Everyone's leveling up a little bit, upskilling in the game. And yeah, it's really fun, you know, and I mean, the mistakes are still expensive. You know, you crash, you're like, come on, I want to go. But great day out on course. Congratulations to Tim. Happy birthday, Jennifer. Yeah, this season's going to be awesome. I'm so excited for it.
It's going to be, when the season kicks up, I think season 1 blew everybody's minds when it came to the tournament and the grand finale. I think this next one is just going to, like, we're already in space, but I think we'll go beyond the Milky Way. I think we'll go into uncharted territory. Thank you, Beth. Now, we've got 7th place, Jennifer Garcia. Jennifer, your dad kind of declared war against the whole team on Cade for you. How do you respond to that?
No war. He tried to like resolve it by letting me get on his wheel, and I actually couldn't make it to his wheel, so that is not his fault. What happened to the pack where everyone was going to let me win on my birthday, guys?
See, guys, I knew there was a pack. We knew it all along. No, it was good fun to see you out there. First race went well. How is it being a part of a team? You're riding with Ben, you're riding with Timothy. What's that been like?
it has been so much fun. Just having them and with able like the blocking and strategies that go on are so extensive. Sometimes it's fun because I'm listening to the broadcast and I'm listening to them and I'm listening to my dad, and it's just like this whole shebang that comes together, and it makes it a lot of fun, but it makes it hard to hear everyone.
I was going to say, how are you able to multitask if you got 3 different sources of information?
Well, we finally have channeled it down to 1, so we just throw my dad into the chat we have with the team, which is hilarious. So that's where we're at today.
Sounds like in the future broadcast we need to be a fly on the wall in there, because I always know what Frank is like when he's sports director. One of the best in the business, but it's always fun to listen to. Good racing today, Jennifer, and once more, happy birthday. Now, last few words, we've got Ryan and Kayla up here as well. Let's start with Ryan as we watch the highlights. Ryan, come the end, do you feel like you made your attempt to dig your way out of the grave, or where is the status currently on the ground level?
You know, in Lakeview, I was trying to let Jenna and Timothy back onto my wheel, but they wouldn't have it. But fair enough, I completely understand why. But look at that, at the end, I'm looking at the scoreboard, I let Jenna finish right ahead of me. So happy birthday, Jenna.
Nice try, Ryan. It's good to see you racing out there. Like Nigel, as an addition to your team, I know Nigel is modest. The Team League is coming up, or the new CVRcade World Cup, where it's going to be team-oriented. How happy are you to have Nigel Doyle go from one of your biggest competitor to your team?
Yeah, it's interesting. You know, like every time we get somebody new on the team, it changes the dynamic a little bit. So, you know, it sort of forces us to figure out, okay, what are our roles? Not that we, you know, label any specific roles consistently week to week. I certainly don't want to be known as the blocker every week, but maybe there's nothing I can do about it at this point. But
I have bad news for you, Ryan. Once you're a blocker for 1 week, you're a blocker forever.
Rocket the Rocket. You have to come up with a new one for me. No, but yeah, just in terms of like figuring out our strategies, you know, one more person kind of opens up more possibilities and opportunities. So, you know, we kind of just have to see what events are planned, what are the power-ups, how are we gonna play it? You know, now with Nigel, we've got a really good squad, so we'll be doing a lot of strategizing, a lot of practice, hopefully, before the team league starts.
Excited to see when and if that pays off. Ryan Goldenberg putting his name in a hat for Block It the Rocket 2. I'm sure that the Mixer chat and the rest can come up with a better version of that. So last but not least, Kayla Laguna returning back to form. I think she's just left. I think she's just jumped off the... Oh, she's here. Kayla, racing here in Zone L today. I know you'll do Zone T. We used to see you dominate ever so often. What do you think has happened now that you're finding yourself in the midst of the crowd?
Yeah, I don't know. My late blocked up today. I was a little bit disappointed in myself, not able to help the team out as much. So I'm just going to really try to stay consistent with the cycling and build that endurance back up. I guess I just, after over the time, lost a little bit of it. So just need to keep that up because the season is right around the corner. So there's no messing around. But yeah, just going to be focusing on that and just getting in the game as much as I can.
Sounds like a good strategy. Thank you, Kayla. I'll let you get back to what you were doing. Now, everybody, that's it from all the racers. I did see a question regarding to where is the results. We'll show the results at the end again, just so you can see the full results. We'll have the full results screen on there. Got Chip saying happy birthday in the chat. Hey, DJ with a happy birthday as well. Hey, DJ, always coming in big time with the host here on Mixer. But as you could hear from Kayla, the CVRcade World Cup, which is why you're all here. You know, esports pioneering the future. CVR from Roanoke to Las Vegas to London to Paris to Vancouver to Los Angeles. Who knows what the future is going to bring us? Season 1, $25,000. Season 2 will be team-oriented. You know there's going to be a prize purse. You know it's going to be next level racing. The gameplay is getting better. The streaming is always going to be up. Personalities. Nigel Doyle finds himself in a good spot. The World Cup, team-oriented, around the corner. Make sure to click the follow button down below if you haven't already to stay up to date to all the streams. But teams, man, the teams. I think that's going to be amazing to watch when you are forced as a unit to come together. I think Cycling Hub are going to be very difficult to beat, because now they're kind of just having fun with it. They're riding as individuals. As soon as you include that money, they seem to gel. They seem to figure out the way of racing, but you never know. Velocity Vixen have Nigel Doyle. He was up there. Cognition, Moti has not been his former self. Can he return? Timothy Tomont is forming a new team. The Pink Panthers have been doing quite well. I think their name is still pending. I'm not sure. For the time being, I know Timothy went with Team Sarcasm the other Saturday. I like Pink Panthers more just because that kit just stands out like no other. And then I'm sure more teams are going to come. You saw the emails have started going out. The graphics update went to join us. Phil Lovett was in here. Ed Laverick, Chris Pritchard. Who is Phil Lovett going to join? He's going to be in the World Cup. CCC have been dwindling. They have Peter Castro and everybody's favorite Swede. I don't know, somewhere around the world, Carl Axel Sander and Victor Lundqvist are going, what? Well, Thomas Tibbling, the original Swede, the OG, he is in there as well. Who's going to join CCC? But there will be more information on this coming very soon. There'll be at least one post on Facebook after this, letting you know that there's going to be some changes to that racing as of Tuesday. So next Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, onwards for some testing. You want to make yourself available. You're going to want to do the testing, the preparation, because when the money is on the table, you want to be the one reaching out, grabbing it, and keeping it. But up here, you've got the results. Tim wins. Ben second, Nigel, Beth, Timothy, Allison, Jennifer, etc. Those are your finalized results here on Zone L of the CVRcade World Cup run-up. From all of us here at the CVR team, thank you so much for watching. Farquhar, I'll be in touch with you. Chip, the rest, you rock. And one last time, happy birthday to Jennifer Garcia. Thank you for watching. We'll see you all in 7 hours for more racing in Zone T.
But no, Beth, yours goes crashing down. Determination, the suffering, the ability to... And she's unleashed everything in this attack. See just how much that win means to him. All the marvels. Kayla versus Allison, and to the line. Kayla Laguna takes the victory.